The title says it all as far as what's the most pressing event. Woke up this morning, as you should be able to see in the preceding live stream, and all those Android apps were reinitiated. I'm going to speculate here. This is why for over 24 hours I was forced to log into the HP Chromebook only under developer mode, since that went away right when those Android apps became impossible to remove. So I power washed this device after they closed out the developer tools and crashed some of the web pages, and were tinkering around with the settings using their system, Android system. Logged into the HP Chromebook, which was already power washed as this account. Immediately went straight to that Gmail account in an attempt to change the password. Wasn't able to change the password, but we have an update on the logins. Remember how on Friday we were at 26 and numerous were Androids? Not really Androids either. iPhones upstairs in possession of individuals that are going to prison for the rest of their lives. Well, today there was 50, 2 under the Android section, and over 5 in the 50 logins showing as simply being logged into Chrome operating system, Android. So the target day was for today, and this whole time I thought it was for my murder. Clearly, it was to be able to terminate the live streams. So I signed out of every single account that I could on the HP Chromebook, which appeared to be all of them, including that one, and power washed that device again. Then I power washed this device. Then I logged into this device, and magically I could see the image of my son that I took of him at my friend Rico's house when we went paintballing, petting Rico's dog. Something I didn't see at all yesterday, no matter how many times I logged in. And I saw that I was once again able to end task on those Android apps, although they have not disappeared. They're still very much in the tools section. And as I'm speaking, a male upstairs is trying to get into the local search section to plant shit via internal partitions. Everett Police Department and everyone in Unit 207 and all of your co-conspirators, from Anne Marie Bauer to Andy and Kelly to Richard Garcia to Erica Owens, you are all going to prison. The only exceptions are the whistleblowers, and the only question is, will you be detained in a blitz sweep while I'm running a YouTube live stream and I'm in the basement, like was the plan? Or because you only have one felony left to perpetrate and you are actively attempting to murder me, will I be moved to a different location and you'll be detained the following business day, which was the backup plan? Make sure you look at the post here, because all of my communications are blocked by the Everett Police Department and their domestic terrorist organization, previously only an aggravated criminal conspiracy. There are more than 16 individuals that work for this county that are going to be convicted of felony stalking and the Class A felony witness tampering, intimidation, retaliation, and of course, threatening an FBI informant with threat of murder. There's been over 250 crimes perpetrated against me, and I've been illegally detained for over 300 days. And the one and only crime that has not been perpetrated and made actionable, i.e., the only reason they haven't been detained and arraigned yet, is an attempt at murder to be deemed a suicide. Initially, the story was supposed to end with the Everett Police Department kicking in my door, making up a fraudulent claim, something they've historically done repeatedly over the last 300 plus days of illegally detaining me. And then an officer pulling a gun from his holster and shooting me in the head with no audio or video footage. Now, the FBI will verify this for anyone and everyone who request, and they've said that they've in fact stated that there's not a surrounding police department that doesn't have at least 2 sergeants that know 100% you're going to prison, Everett Police Department. So if this live stream ends for any reason without me orally and explicitly telling you the end time, be aware it was the Everett Police Department before their entire fucking police department is behind bars. Because the Bureau did say at the beginning of this month, it's no longer the North Everett precinct they plan on locking up for years. It's each and every officer at the Everett Police Department that's failed to do what was federally required and report to them and blow the fucking whistle. Each and every officer. But they did say some police officers are only going to prison for 2 to 5 years. So there's that. And of course, I didn't list everyone involved in their domestic terrorist organization / aggravated criminal conspiracy. To be fair, according to the Bureau, there's more than 3 attorneys that are looking at not just federal disbarment, but also federal imprisonment. What's up? Let Jared Irving know his retirement is not going to prevent his detainment or arraignment. Okay, you'll see that I've added in here on the chat some extra info that's not in the description because I ran out of space in the description. I signed out of all 50 on my end of the criminal sign-ins of the Everett Police Department's domestic terrorist cell et al., which has members such as Anne Marie Bauer, Andy and Kelly, Richard Garcia, numerous prosecutors / attorneys, all facing prison time. The only exceptions, contrary to the Everett Police Department's fraudulent, preposterous claims for 3+ years to others that they'll have non-existent immunity, are the whistleblowers. Everyone else has no immunity and is indeed going to prison if they haven't blown the whistle. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits from individuals hitting the Everett Police Department per the FBI. You can't walk around telling different people, agencies, and institutions that you corrupt with your aggravated criminal conspiracy that became a domestic terrorist organization, that they're going to have immunity that's never existed. Well, you can. You did, Everett Police Department and Company. And now you are grasping for a little leg of hope and thinking mistakenly that the fact that you haven't been detained yet means you're getting away with anything. You haven't been detained yet because there is only one felony reported back in 2017, as your entire police department knew of, by me, an FBI informant to the FBI, that you haven't yet tried to make actionable. But every time you tinker with the live stream, you are trying to make it actionable. So I repeat, you've not been detained yet because the Bureau is determining who is going to be adding to their indictment conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, and threatening an FBI informant with murder. That is the only reason you're not in jail yet. That is what comes next. Wake the fuck up. Anyway, I put it a little more politely in the chat here, though. So let's go back to the chat. Signed out of all 50 on my end. We all know that that doesn't mean anything with the Everett Police Department's man in the middle, kernel, root, access, BIOS, hacks, CTC, chip to chip, kernel, the Crostani Linux machine, yada, 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 yada. But on my end, there's only one device, one and only, that should be logged into this account. And that doesn't include everyone upstairs that's pretending to be this device. Anyway, I do see the photo I took of Indy when we went paintballing at my friend's house, something lacking all day yesterday and the night before upon login. Apps/services on Android still in Task Manager. Was blocked from ending those until I logged into HP Chromebook and removed apps. Selected that, it didn't remove them. I speculate this is why they, i.e. everyone upstairs, was so dependent on the Bluetooth and forcing me into developer mode for days, only as now HP Chromebook at last checked was no longer in developer mode. Paired with the auto sync of the forced criminal Google workspace of their domestic terrorist cell, Google Jacuzzi. I repeat, you're going to prison for the rest of your life, Everett Police Department, Anne Marie Bauer, Richard Garcia, prosecutors et al., less the whistleblowers. The FBI is just saying who is also adding conspiracy to commit murder, threats to murder / retaliate against FBI informant, and attempted to murder to their personalized, handcrafted, individually curated just for you indictments. You will be detained within 1 business day of your next unlawful entry / breaking and entering indoor ambush. Yesterday included 4 separate stalking incidents within 13 minutes of your cyber attacks. Excellent evidence. Keep it coming. And remember, don't you fucking forget, smile for the fucking FBI. Now, again, if this live stream ends for any reason without me orally and explicitly telling you the end time, you know who did it. The individuals that are going to be spending the rest of their life in a cement cell at some point in the next couple of weeks. Oh, and on that note, I am going to log in as a guest on the HP Chromebook that is rigged for EPD via Unit 207 to add those charges to their indictments via the forced sync of the criminal Google Workspace that the ugly petite girl upstairs insisted on everyone pre-installing via their BIOS hacks of March 2025 onto the operating system this month. Get excited, Unit 207. And then you remember, it is you who is going to prison for the rest of your life. You will not be able to point your finger and say, but they told me to do it. They're my... Nope, 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 nope. Complicity, complicity, complicity. Your willingness to follow unlawful directives does not absolve you. It provides you no immunity. It further incriminates you. And you may be wondering, well, how can you say that? You're not a lawyer. I'm saying that because that's what the FBI said, and they had me write it and read it to you before your last kidnapping charges. Just go to youtube.com/mysticgwen. Watch the 2:16 3 a.m. debrief, and then you can hear the read aloud of everything the FBI wrote, with some alterations due to your hacking, but nothing that the FBI felt was substantial. And just to be clear, what makes the petite girl so ugly is that for over 3 years, she knew that everything she was here to do was everything I reported to the FBI in 2017. She knew that by manipulating other individuals, they would volunteer to go to prison. Some of them believing they were doing an actual legit investigation slash operation, which has never, not for a single day, ever existed. An aggravated criminal conspiracy comprising of prosecutors, police officers, and my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser, as he openly admits to in some of his legal filings from 2019 at Snohomish Superior Courthouse. And then everything you've done since was and is the plan. And again, there's only one felony remaining. And every moment you do anything at all to malign, tamper, obstruct, or control and manipulate this live stream, you are assuring your prosecution for it. That's what makes her ugly. Because she's manipulative and, as far as I'm concerned, an evil, evil, evil woman. Okay, I have the HP Chromebook logged in as guest mode. It's not registered to anyone because they've just been using it. Oh, they got lots of stuff on here, lots of Chrome service extensions. And as you've read in the on the sidebar there, you know how they've got it set up. So any website you go to, they can use this device to pretend like it's Indigo. And to try and tamper with this video, to try to make sure that they do indeed go to prison for the rest of their life without parole, and that they add attempted murder, threats to retaliate / intimidate against an FBI informant with murder, all of the extra evidence as far as stalking goes, like yesterday's 4 separate instances, all concurrent with their cyber attacks and perceived misconception of ever terminating any video or audio footage for the FBI. They've still got enabled verified access forced on here. No way to change that whatsoever. They're still preventing any ability to set the site settings to prevent them from saving data to this device. Or to put it another way, they're still very much going to prison for the rest of their lives in less than 2 weeks. To put it another way. All right. The HP Chromebook is now logged into guestbook mode. Again, they've got it rigged to pretend it is this device and to auto sync their file drops, index databases, cached storage, local storage, all of their domestic terrorist org / aggravated criminal conspiracy, still moonlighting 100% fraudulently as a legit operation that it has never been. Not ever. All of the threats reported from EPD in 2017, less my murder, have been made actionable during the 300 plus days they have been illegally detaining me. But in less than 2 weeks, they'll be in jail. Finally. I don't know much about the legal. And we've got utility local search and 3 different renderers rolling, and the girl upstairs that's going to prison for longer than any of the other vaginas up there, other than codename Putin's pussy, is real excited. She's gonna do something. She's going to prison for the rest of her life, and we can all hope that she becomes a lesbian and has a long, satisfying relationship with the woman that's previously known as the Jersey Devil and renamed Putin's pussy. Because the two of them's plan from the beginning has always been to point the finger at each and every one of the other idiots that are upstairs and say that they did it if worse came to worse. And worse already came to worse on April Fool's Day, when a motion for dismissal led to everyone involved with a law degree or paralegal certificate being fully aware that they're going to be convicted and charged for that, just like every officer and everyone else that was in the parking lot and who entered my home.
visit the new EVERETT at 2107 East 29th Avenue on the South Hill.
They've already planted 8 criminal cookies from google.com, partitions on youtube.com, and 4 cookies which are partitioned.
Yeah, I tell everyone because I like sushi so much.
On the HP Chromebook.
Japanese. Oh, Stella! You know, because that's what sushi is from. In case you didn't know. Well, also, I lived in Singapore for 6 months, so I say I'm Southeast Asian.
No, wait, we gotta talk about Singapore.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Because I was born and raised in Southeast Asia.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah. I'm Filipino.
But that's like my second home.
But we're really poor compared to Singapore.
Oh, no, Singapore is like the Europe of Asia. I love it. Singapore was nice.
I feel like LA is.
You know, it is the Bay, LA. Like,
yes.
Any black girl I know that got a little bit of a slant. Like my mom is.
Yeah, I know. We know. Well, will you introduce our guest?
Of course. I thought it was going.
Hi, Stars. It's your girl with a mouthful of raisins and walnuts. Here to tell you, I have a stand-up show in LA, Friday, June 27th at the Comedy Store. You can get tickets at the link below. I'll see you there. It's been real.
Well, we have a Patreon, and it is, I'll say it, it's popping off. And it's juicy, juicy, juicy. And we have full episodes there.
Just to be clear, everything that you're doing, none of it is going to help you when you are in jail. Do you understand that? Your refusal to take accountability or to halt your criminal spree is why you're going to prison for the rest of your lives. And right now, at this very moment in time, what some of you who are desperately believing are not going to, some of you that are desperately believing that you're not going to be charged or convicted for anything, you believe that what you're doing is going to somehow add to that never going to exist, 100% proven false notion of having a defense. I just want to remind everybody, particularly gentlemen that may not have been here since the beginning of the month, the Bureau is literally documenting every fucking thing that the small margin of individuals who still believe they're going to get away with this are doing. Don't follow unlawful directives and don't be complicit. And the Bureau has stated repeatedly in a variety of ways, if you've blown the whistle, unless you've heard from them or the sheriffs directly, stay the fuck away from my windows indoors.
We're talking current events, pop culture, all this stuff we don't get.
How do you do that? I don't know. Maybe you suddenly have anxiety attacks when you're out there. Think outside of the fucking box.
Instant access to all the backlog episodes.
And remember, getting paid for a hostile working environment means dealing with people being hostile. No, but they're going to yell at me if I don't do it. Good. That means you'll get paid more. They're going to be in jail in less than 2 weeks. They're going to be in jail the next time that one of you fucking talks to me, either in my living room or as a result of an ambush outside, whichever is first. Less than 24 hours from that moment. And that includes individuals that think that not being in the state of Washington will help. Wrong. The Bureau has already said that more than one person that's going to prison wasn't even in this state a few weeks back.
Vice got weird.
Vice got broke.
Yeah,
Vice went bankrupt. That was a
Remember, the Bureau has something you don't have, although your domestic terrorist organization pretended they did when they handled people in King County. And that is what's referred to as cross-territorial jurisdiction.
My friend is Eddie Wong. And so he wrote this whole thing about Vice's broke. And I was like, oh, because he used to be the Vice Golden Boy, right?
Well, no, that was Caesar's America.
Oh, that is true. Yes, you're right.
You know?
Yes.
And then they left to Showtime.
Yes.
Martin was on Vice too, right?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. It was 2 Chainz, and they lost 2 Chainz. GQ ended up picking up his show. crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of stars came out of Vice though.
Yeah, we were actually supposed to like make a show with them.
Yeah, wasn't it $800?
The budget was with no glam, with no. It was bad.
No, you like
I was trying to do YouTube, and we're like considering this shit. Like,
But we can get this was like 2018, 2019.
I don't blame you because like the idea of being on Vice is so cool and
My mom just wanted the bug. Like my mom was obsessed with that.
it's interesting you just said it's so cool. I was having a conversation. I had a TV short fuse, and we were talking about brands known for being cool because don't make movies. And one of the guys was like, yeah, like think about Vice. When someone's talking about Vice, you think not only TV, but you're like, oh, media cool documentary, interesting article, like they were really cool.
you also know the style
Yes.
right away.
They fucking really fucked that up.
Do you know who else went to that? And I can say I love it because I worked with them. I ended up hosting a dating show on MTV. And MTV is like, what I grew up on. It's just like, oh my God, it's MTV. The logo was behind me. I said, yes. And now they're literally one of the networks that, of course, got sucked into the whole Paramount, Viacom umbrella, but they weren't able to keep up digitally. And then I was like, wait, what about Rumors? All the shows we like, they've had digital content.
Well, Girl Code felt digital on
It did.
TV.
It really did.
The crazy thing about what MTV and how they, I guess, with licensing now, streaming and all the things. So this is what I heard. All the shows back in the day, like the 90s and early 2000s on MTV, when they made the shows, y'all remember how they used to like everything had music? Well, no one edited it with the steps to remove the music. And so now the cost to put those shows on any of the streaming platforms would be so much because it's about the songs. And it's like fucking Blink 182, probably Beyonce don't let her music go anywhere.
Right.
So those shows can't go anywhere because it would be so expensive to put them on.
Yeah. You know, the last year almost had a reality show.
No way, I need to know what was this.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't dating, was it? No. Okay, was it something with like shit?
Yeah. Wait, that's so sad.
No, I just meant like I felt like it you give me like I don't know, I get to see it on a reality TV show doing shit fun with friends.
That's what it was. Yeah. It was literally, so it was about me like being stand-up comedian and like my friend group. And we did like 2 pilots and then like the head of the network got fired.
Damn, I did a pilot for MTV too. It was for a show that was called Ghosted. And it was something that like burned me, but I'll never forget it. Alex was actually the person that got me over my depression. So they flew me out to LA. I did this pilot for a show that was like catfish, but when you get ghosted, so you gotta go find the person that ghosted you.
Oh my god.
And I was like, damn, this is gonna be fun.
I'd be mad as hell. If I go to still, like, I don't want to do it. If you pop up, I'll be like, now you embarrassing yourself.
Because you know where I liked it? I was like, well, this is kind of like Cheaters, and Cheaters is not. You know, go and have some fun, and that's what I wanted to do. So they ended up going with Drea from Basketball.
Drea, yeah.
The show never came out. I was so depressed. I was like, say to him, the podcast. Like, what does she do? So I know for next time. I said, actually, everyone liked you better. We just wanted someone with more followers. And I remember crying, and I was like, damn, we're going to get there. And Alex was like, you have a TV show by now. Really not. I did. It was my own. And it's still going. And that one never came out. And it's crazy because you look at these names of these networks like they're God. But in reality, Tubi's making hella bread. Like, I got Tubi on Tubi.
Where we just got food about to they had a little shit.
Did you glam?
They paid enough to the honorarium coming.
First class flights.
What? Rooms out, and they gave us a flight for our guests. So I flew my boyfriend in with me. I was like, oh yeah, we had a whole extra guest flight. We had a suite, transportation. I was like, oh, what's up, Toby?
I don't know. Y'all know this about Tubi. How is his respect?
Don't say, because I want to work with Toby.
We were so serious. Okay. So, I thought it was just like a good, you know what I'm saying? It's not. And then, I was thinking about my wife. And she was like, oh my God, let's see what's on Tubi. And I'm like, you watch Tubi? And she was watching like Santa Claus, like old episodes of First and Nicole. And I was like, shut up.
First and Nicole's on Tubi?
When I say Tubi,
Simple Life?
the thing about Tubi, they're like this channel that is also like streamed and partnered with mad other channels. So Tubi only makes horror movies. And I'm like, oh, so there's a stripper tale and also high production. Yeah, it's crazy. I love it.
Wait, I want to get back to the ghosting show. What is considered ghosting? Because for me, ghosting is totally appropriate.
Me too, girl. Look, she said, I think she's like, I need you to tell me to my face that you're gay too.
Like, I reserve the right to be like, you know what? I don't want to explain to you why I didn't like you, and I can just like fuck off.
But it so depends on like what came before the ghosting. Because let's say we had like 6 great months.
That's not ghosting.
That is though. That's a thing.
6 months?
People do that. Yeah, dude.
What are you thinking? Like, I'm thinking like a day or two.
That's fair.
No.
If your dick was in me, you need to tell me why you don't want this kid, y'all. Look, and that to me, I could have had my face in your ass. Don't want it there anymore. Don't have to tell you why I don't want your ass in my face anymore. Okay, no, but you tongue could be in the hole. Don't have to explain to you.
Could you at least honk the horn and be like, hey, this is over, without giving an explanation?
Ghosting is no explanation. People are just pushing somewhere.
Yeah.
I tried that once, and I mean, I wish I could.
Sorry, he's really just anxious today.
Okay. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Shout out to all 3 of y'all with these dogs. Y'all may as well push the human being out your coochie. This is why I have a cat. He in the house, sleep, got his litter box, food is spread out, water fountain going. He good. No. When people ask me how old is she, I said, well, I had her 2021 May, and then people are like so confused with me. 12 hours of labor. I don't give a fuck. That is my child. I'm someone that doesn't want kids at all. And the reaction for me from men is, well, then you're wasting your time here on earth because you're supposed to be bringing life to this earth. The reception and the perception of Mandy, I think, when she talks about not wanting kids, I don't even like that. That's their thing. It's so, like, when I hear them on the plane, when are they making the childless flight? I'll pay a couple more dollars. Like, moms would too. Even if they don't, like, make noise, then they're just, like, in the back of your seat, and I just feel them. And I'm just like, when I walk into stores, it's just like, why are they here? Like, don't they have to be in school? I'm confused why they're never, like, why are they around? Like, we were talking about when I was, like, living in Asia, and I went to Bali, and I was like, why are there kids here? Like, people brought their kids to Bali. They're not going to remember it. Like, why is there a 2-year-old in my pool?
You know, what's funny is that of all the places to take a baby in Southeast Asia, because everyone loves babies there, and then it's so communal. So if you ever have a baby, travel to Southeast Asia, they'll take your baby for you. They'll walk that baby around. They'll babysit. It's like it's so. I'm supposed to hear.
My partner is Nigerian. He's like, first of all, I'm 100 cousins, so we're never getting a babysitter. I'm like, you never get a babysitter? I want a nanny girl. I know you want to out there. I mean, you never. I was wondering, and also maybe soak your man Zeke from time to time. No. Cute, ugly, and I mean, cute nanny, like hot nannies that like we go out on date night and then we come home and she's like,
But you would. We're very anti.
Yeah, I would.
y'all are anti. I don't fuck with nannies. Sorry, after. But then I want an ugly nanny for when I need to go work so she can supervise when my man is too tired. Like, you're having a hot and ugly nanny. They're going to know also. Can we talk about nanny ethnicity and why it's important?
Yeah.
Caribbean nanny? I need that Caribbean nanny in your fundamental years. Okay, so basically what's in my head, right? Caribbean nanny is like, right when my kids at school and someone starts saying fuck and they're learning bad words, I need that Caribbean nanny. Like, I want you Then I want a really nice, like, there's 2 types of Latino nannies, right? You've got the one that's hardcore and the one that's super soft. Anything you want. Get your kid proud. I need that one right at the ages of like 0 to 1. Then I kind of want like a Russian cunty bitchy nanny. Right, you know exactly what I'm
I have
talking
one of those, and let me tell you, that's also my like trauma.
Ooh,
The way this bitch fed me carrots.
wait,
Like, I'm
why
scared
is
of
she gonna eat
carrots.
carrots?
Because she made chop suey and she would cook it right, and she would just like jam it in my mouth, and I would puke, and she would jam more. She was just
no.
her name was Maribel. Oh, scary
That's not
bitch.
the name I thought for the Russian nanny, but okay. I was thinking Maribel. That's what I want 0 to 2. But yeah, like I living in New York, you see, especially Upper East Side, anywhere in the neighborhood, you are going to see a black woman in a baby, or a woman that speaks Spanish with a tiny little white baby. Like, you're just going to see it. Like, go to a park in the was like, hey, it was just a guy. A part of like having an abortion, like there's these narratives that, oh my God, you live with the regret and the guilt for your whole life. Haven't thought about it till writing the book. Honestly, like I feel like my whole life would have been different had I had a kid at 16.
I absolutely agree with you. So I am very open about the multiple abortions I've had. Initially when I was 19, and then later on when I was in a long-term relationship.
Oh wow.
Even
Most people don't talk about those. I love that part while people are married and long-term relationships.
yeah, I mean, I was with Bobby Lee for a decade. You know, we were financially able to support each other. There was all the things that maybe from a distance you would be like, okay, that makes sense. She's pregnant. Why not have a kid? I just number one, there's many layers to it, right? Number one, I wasn't ready. I was going through a heart condition, and like there was a lot of things like relationally that was just not adding up for me, and I just didn't feel ready. And I think that there's this, you're right. There's a perception that like I absolutely regret not. I have a baby now, and I still think those were correct decisions for myself.
I love that.
And I don't like. Of course, there's always a wondering. Now that I have a baby, I'm like, oh shoot, like I would have had an 11-year-old or this and that. But I just know for a fact that when it happened, I felt sure. And the only mistake I ever made was raw dogging the abortion. By that I mean I didn't take because I was really afraid like my condition was like I right. I did not take anything. You can opt for like a twilight abortion where you get some type of like relief, sedative, whatever. I was like, how long is it gonna last? They were like, yeah, at most the vacuum 1 minute.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll white knuckle it. Oh my goodness.
You white knuckled it.
Yeah, I did.
What was that like?
Super painful. And the fucked up part was the girl who went before me, because I was at Planned Parenthood.
Same.
The girl who went before me. I was like, hey, like I don't think we need a sedative. She was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. She saw me in the recovery room and she like seared holes into my forehead. She's like, what the fuck was that? Crazy for that.
Did the doctors? So I wrote about it because I was young. I don't know if you experienced this at Planned Parenthood. I talk about like you have this image of as you're walking in to get an abortion that there's going to be all of these sea of people with picket signs calling you a killer. That wasn't the case. However,
There's one or two. There's always one or two.
Mine didn't have it. But when I went in, I remember as I was going back, this was already a conversation I had with my mom, with myself. They sat there before doing the procedure, trying to convince me that the decision I was making was wrong.
No way.
Yes, and I was so like,
At Planned Parenthood?
at Planned Parenthood. This was in Atlanta, Georgia. That was some sugar.
Okay.
Conservative.
Yeah.
And literally, they were trying to convince me, like, you sure you want to do this? And I remember, like, and I wrote about it because that was like a vivid memory of mine. Like, okay, this bitch, I'm coming here. Like, as they showed me the sonogram of the dot, they're like,
Yes.
it's a dot. What you want me to do? Like, they tried to make me connect to this thing, but this decision that I had already made.
I wonder if there's some kind of like, different abortion clinics have different, I don't want to say vibes, but I used to volunteer to drive people home from abortions.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I'm not a great person. I feel like they gave me free birth control or something. I must do something. But it was when I got my driver's license to count as volunteer hours, and I'm like, this is something I'm passionate about. So I said I always saw them every single time. Because that's really, personally true, but that was part of the safety thing. So basically, like, making sure that person isn't shamed on the way out was more important than the twilight.
Right.
They were like, oh, they'll wake up eventually, but like, make sure they don't, encounter these people. And I heard some stories where people talked about other places they went to, where they had to go through a few steps before getting approved for an abortion. And this is 20 years ago. I'm 34 years old now. So like, it's weird because today I live in downtown Manhattan. So whenever I need to just get a test or do something, I go to Planned Parenthood because it's a 10-minute walk. And so there's always someone outside. And I'm always like, I am so literally in New York. I thought this was the place of freedom and abortion. It's weird. But when you go in,
Here in Hollywood too. They have a little one or two people with the sign.
That's the thing. They were just,
Yeah.
you know who they are? Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses be doing a little. They have a little setup outside of a grocery store.
They never take holidays. They have so much time.
They never take holidays.
I did this branch like 5 years ago, and I was a long-term pregnancy, baby around. They'll babysit. It's like it's so.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
supposed
what
to
I want.
hear.
My partner is Nigerian. He's like, first of all, I have 100 cousins, so we're never getting a babysitter. I'm like, we never getting a babysitter.
You want a nanny, girl. I know you want an au pair.
Honey, you know. I was
One that
right
can
now.
also maybe suck your man's dick from time to time.
No. I want cute, ugly, and I mean cute nanny, like hot nannies that like we go out on date night and then we come home and she's like,
But you would. We're very anti-hot nanny.
Yeah, I
oh,
would.
y'all are I want to fuck the nanny. Sorry, Esther. But then I want an ugly nanny for when I need to go work, so she could supervise when my man is too tired. Like
You having a hot and ugly nanny.
they're gonna know also. Can we talk about nanny ethnicity and why it's important?
Yeah.
Caribbean nanny? I need that Caribbean nanny in your fundamental years. Okay, so basically what's in my head, right? Caribbean nanny is like right when my kids at school and someone starts saying fuck and they're learning bad words. I need that Caribbean nanny. Like I want you to beat them, but give them a little something. Then I want a really nice, like there's two types of Latino nannies, right? You've got the one that's hardcore and the one that's super soft, anything you want. Get your kid fed. I need that one right at the ages of like 0 to 1. Then I kind of want like the Russian cunty bitchy nanny. Right, you know exactly what I'm
I
talking
had one of
about.
those, and let me tell you, that's a source of my like trauma.
Ooh,
The way this bitch fed me carrots.
Wait,
Like I'm
why
scared
was
of
she giving you
carrots.
carrots?
Because she made chop suey and she didn't cook it right, and she would just like jam it in my mouth, and I would puke, and she would jam more. She was
oh
just,
sounds like a cake.
her name was Maribel. Oh, scary
that's not
bitch.
the name I thought for the Russian nanny, but okay. I was thinking Maribel. That's what I want 0 to 2. But yeah, like I living in New York, you see, especially Upper East Side, any wacky neighborhood, you are going to see a black woman and a baby, or a woman that speaks Spanish with a tiny little white baby. Like you're just gonna see it. Like go to a park in the day. Oh my God, United Nations. Like that's nanny land.
No, I love talking about this because I'll never have to worry about it. Like I literally, like one of the chapters in the book, I talk about my abortion, and in talking about it, I was like, hey, it was just a dot. A part of like having an abortion, like there's these narratives that, oh my God, you live with the regret and the guilt for your whole life. Haven't thought about it till writing the book. Honestly, like I feel like my whole life would have been different had I had a kid at 16 years old.
I absolutely agree with you. So I am very open about the multiple abortions I've had. Initially when I was 19, and then later when I was in a long-term relationship.
Oh wow!
Even
and most people don't talk about those.
I love that talk while people are married and all that.
yeah, I mean, I was with Bobby Lee for a decade. You know, we were financially able to support a child. There was all the things that maybe from a distance you would be like, okay, that makes sense. She's pregnant. Why not have a kid? Number one, there's many layers to it, right? Number one, I wasn't ready. I was going through a heart condition, and like there was a lot of things like relationally that was just not adding up for me, and I just didn't feel ready. And I think that you're right. There's a perception that like I absolutely regret not. I have a baby now.
No matches the name.
It does, yeah. It's like yuzu shiso Asian.
I'm Asian.
You are, Mandy?
Yeah, I tell everyone because I like sushi so much.
Like I want you to fuck and they're learning bad words. I need that Caribbean name. Like I want you to beat them, but give them a little something. Then I want a really nice, like there's two types of Latino names, right? You've got the one that's hardcore and the one that's super soft, anything you want. Get your kid fed. I need that one right at the ages of like 0 to 1. Then I kind of want like the Russian cunty bitchy nanny. You know exactly what I'm
I had
talking
one
about.
of those, and let me tell you, that's a source of my like trauma.
Ooh,
The way this bitch fed me carrots.
Wait,
Like I'm
why
scared
was
of
she giving you
carrots.
carrots?
Because she made chop suey and she didn't cook it right. right? And she would just like jam it in my mouth, and I would puke, and she would jam more. And she was
Oh,
just,
sounds like a cake.
her name was Maribel. Oh, scary
That's not
bitch.
the name I thought for the Russian nanny, but okay. I was thinking Maribel. That's what I want, 0 to 2. But yeah, like I, living in New York, you see, especially Upper East Side, any wealthy neighborhood, you are going to see a black woman and a baby, or a woman that speaks Spanish with a tiny little white baby. Like you're just going to see it. Like go to a park in the day. Oh my God, United Nations. Like that's nanny land.
No, I love talking about this because I'll never have to worry about it. Like I literally, like one of the chapters in the book, I talk about my abortion, and in talking about it, I was like, hey, it was just a dot. A part of like having an abortion, like there's these narratives that, oh my God, you live with the regret and the guilt for your whole life. Haven't thought about it till writing the book. Honestly, like I feel like my whole life would have been different had I had a kid at 16 years old.
I absolutely agree with you. So I am very open about the multiple abortions I've had. Initially when I was 19, and then later on when I was in a long-term relationship.
Oh wow!
Even
and most people don't talk about those.
I love that talk while people are married.
Yeah.
And a long-term relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I was with Bobby Lee for a decade. We were financially able to support a child. There was all the things that maybe from a distance you would be like, okay, that makes sense. She's pregnant. Why not have a kid? Number one, there's many layers to it, right? Number one, I wasn't ready. I was going through a heart condition, and like there was a lot of things like relationally that was just not adding up for me, and I just didn't feel ready. And I think that you're right. There's a perception that like I absolutely regret not. I have a baby now, and I still think those were correct decisions for myself.
I love that.
And I don't like. Of course, there's always a wondering. Now that I have a baby, I'm like, oh shoot, like I would have had an 11-year-old or this and that.
Right.
But I just know for a fact that when it happened, I felt sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the only mistake I ever made was raw dogging the abortion. By that I mean I didn't take because I was really afraid of like my heart condition at this time. I did not take anything. You can opt for like a twilight abortion where you get some type of like relief
Sedative,
whatever.
I got that.
I was like, how long is it gonna last? They were like, at most the vacuum 1 minute.
Yeah,
I'm like,
literally.
okay, I'll white knuckle it. Oh my goodness.
You white knuckled the vacuum?
Yeah, I did.
What was that like?
Super painful. And the fucked up part was the girl who went before me, because I was at Planned Parenthood.
Same.
The girl who went before me, I was like, hey, like, I don't think we need to settle this. She was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, we're fine. She saw me in the recovery room afterwards, and she like seared holes into my forehead. She's like, what the fuck was that? Crazy for that.
Did the doctors, so I write about it because I was young. I don't know if you experienced this at Planned Parenthood. I talk about like, you have this image of as you're walking in to get an abortion that there's going to be all of these people with picket signs calling you a killer. That wasn't the case. However,
There's one or two.
There's always one or two.
Mine didn't have any. But when I went in, I remember as I was going back, this was already a conversation I had with my mom, with myself. They sat there before doing the procedure, trying to convince me that the decision I was making was wrong.
No way.
Yes, and I was so like,
At Planned Parenthood?
At Planned Parenthood. This was in Atlanta, Georgia, though, so I'm sure they were conservative.
Yeah.
But literally, they were trying to convince me, like, are you sure you want to do this? And I remember, like, and I wrote about it because that was like a vivid memory of mine. Like, how dare you, bitch? Bitch, I'm coming here. Like, as they showed me the sonogram of the dot, they're like, it's a dot.
Mm-hmm.
What you want me to do? Like, they tried to make me connect to this thing this decision that I had already made.
I wonder if there's some kind of like, different abortion clinics have different, I don't want to say vibes, but I used to volunteer to drive people home from abortions.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I'm not a great person. I feel like they gave me free birth control or something. I must have did something. But it was when I got my driver's license and counted as volunteer hours, and I'm like, this is something I'm passionate about. So I said I always saw them every single time. Because that's really hard in Orlando. True, but that was part of the safety thing. So basically, like, making sure that person isn't shamed on the way out was more important than the twilight.
Right.
They were like, oh, they'll wake up eventually, but, like, make sure they don't, encounter these people. And I heard some stories where people talked about other places they went to where they had to go through a few steps before getting approved for an abortion.
No way.
And this is 20 years ago. I'm 34 years old now. So, like, it's weird because today, I live in downtown Manhattan, so whenever I need to just get a test or do something, I go to Planned Parenthood because it's a 10-minute walk. And so there's always someone outside, and I'm always like, I am so confused. You guys are literally in New York. I thought this was the place of freedom and abortion. It's weird, but
No,
when
they
you
have
go
it right
in,
here in Hollywood too. They have the little one or two people with the signs.
That's the thing. Those are blue states, right?
Yeah.
you know who they are? Jehovah's Witness. The Jehovah's Witness be doing a little. They have a little setup outside of a grocery store.
Because they never take holidays. They have so much time.
Not because they never take holidays.
I had a miscarriage like 5 years ago, and obviously that was a wanted pregnancy. And I will sometimes, similar to you, think about like, oh, what would it have been like if I had a baby? But even though it was wanted and I didn't terminate it myself, I still feel very, very strongly that was never a baby. Like it was. I lost maybe like 9 or 10 weeks. And it's like you're a dot.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a baby, and so I just feel very strongly like. I think it was never a baby.
I think it's difficult now, like, and I bring up the reversal of Roe v. Wade and how that affects like our autonomy. And there's the lady now, I forgot her name, something Smith in Georgia, where they're keeping her alive.
Right.
After having a brain aneurysm, she's now brain dead.
She's brain dead.
The family is responsible to keep her alive because they found out she was 9 weeks pregnant. So the family is now responsible to pay for the medical bills, keeping her alive for 8 months because they're like, well, she's pregnant. The life of the baby matters more than her. And her family has to literally go in and see that she's
That's
not there, but
crazy.
she's still breathing.
Think about that.
Because there's a
Did you just hear what she said? Imagine you have a daughter, she's late teens or early 20s. She is brain dead, brain aneurysm. She's 9 weeks pregnant. Do you keep her alive and keep the baby that she may or may not have wanted? I do. I would choose yes, but I would choose yes for a different reason than most. For those of you that don't know, there have been hundreds of thousands of instances where people have been in comas and or labeled as brain dead with no brain activity whatsoever, who wake up with no brain damage at all. There's a really cool documentary by Louis Theroux, and that was one of the topics that he covered in it. It's a one that he made in like 2016 or 2019, before COVID, but not too far before COVID, here in the States, when he released another documentary about like all the dogs in Los Angeles that get put down. That's also fucked up. Dumpsters and dumpsters full of dogs that don't get adopted at the pound in time, so they just get put down. There's like a crazy amount of people in LA who get dogs and then can't take care of them, and then the dogs get euthanized when there's nothing wrong with them. They're not violent or anything. And he also made a Place for Pedophile, that documentary, the same year that he came out with this one. And there was a scene in it with this black guy who, for all purposes and according to all of the tests, had no brain activity, was completely brain dead, had suffered irreversible brain damage, would never be the same. If he woke up from the coma, the doctors were emphatic that he would be basically like a toddler and require live-in assistance. He's black with dreads, and he had like these 4 or 5 aunties and grandmas that literally politely told the doctors to fuck off, and they just came in for like weeks and they prayed and they just acted like everything the doctors had said was completely wrong. And then like the documentary would cut to the doctors, and the doctors would be like, well, you don't want to take away their hope, you know, but there's no way. Look at these, you know, look at this picture of his brain. He's gone. And then Louis was there when the guy woke up, brain totally intact. All of his black aunties and grandma were like, praise Jesus. Anyway, so if I was in that position, I'd keep my daughter alive. But if you really think somebody's brain dead and they're 9 weeks pregnant, I think it's totally wrong to keep them alive and steal their baby.
There's a baby inside. And so like with these laws being changed even too about the decisions we can make, luckily we were in states at the time that allowed that. But even me, like being back in Georgia, I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to go to New York for my abortion. Like if it happens. Like, well, I use condoms. I'm an advocate for it. So I'm being smart out
You
here.
made it sound like it was a regular, like, oh, fuck. I have to go get my hair done and my abortion in New York.
Literally my hair too.
By the way, saying that you like she's like always joking about this moment because her kids almost graduated now. But we did Molly like 10 years ago together, and she was like, I want to say something, I want to say it out loud. I was like, and she had just had a baby. I want to say it, it's right here. And I was like, do it. And this is like great girl EDC shit back in the day. And she looked at me, she goes, I love him so much, talking to her son. Like, I can't believe it. I don't want to think about it. I'm just like, maybe I'm just having a good one because I have it now, but like, would I have had another good one in 10 years? And I'm like, damn, do moms that felt pushed through their family, you know, we were young at the time, 34 now, do mothers that felt pushed be like, damn, I'm grateful for this life?
Yeah, all my homegirls and babies be like, girl, don't have them. Don't have them.
I'm an advocate for
Waiting.
not till your 40s. Honestly,
I mean, you can't.
consider.
Freeze your eggs now, ladies. Have it when
My mom had me at 40, but, you know, my parents are in their golden years, which sucks, but also at the same time, I do appreciate how much life they lived.
Wait, oh, your parents had you older?
Mhm.
What age?
My mom had me at 40. So my mom's 74 now. My dad is 90 next week. And I know my friend Brianda was telling you so much about you. She loves the show.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, her too. You guys are connected. She told me that years ago.
My dad would have been 101. Esther's
101. Yeah, he was born in 1924. So 101.
Whoa.
Yeah. My dad's 82. I thought I had an old dad, but
Oh, wait, I didn't know it was you too.
my dad is just still alive somewhere. I don't know his age. I think he was born in 65 or something. I don't know.
That's
He's
young.
like,
That's
he's a couple
young.
years older than my mom.
Yeah,
My mom was born in 68. I don't know.
You're like, when you're parents in the 30s, and I don't know if you guys can relate, when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, this is like my grandparent. Like, I'm old.
Oh,
yes.
I was so embarrassed when my dad would come pick us up from school, and we're like, "Oh, your grandpa's here." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's my grandpa." I wouldn't even like,
Fix it.
I wouldn't fix it.
When
You
I
know
first
what's even
got
worse? My dad is the white one. My mom is the black one. My dad is the white one. I'm like, fuck, now you really look your age. And my mom just looks so youthful. Even today, she's in her 70s, and she's just a very vibrant person.
And I mean, honestly, your dad's looked 90 since I met you.
Yeah, he just looks
Like, and we met at 15.
he's an old Middle Eastern guy. He just looks old. And my mom called me one day years ago. I sent them on a cruise. He was more mobile at the time, but would use a wheelchair sometimes. She's like, I can't even wear white because everyone thinks I'm his fucking nurse. I can't.
Like that. Your mom is
If
hilarious.
you think about it, what is this black lady doing with old white guys? Also, are they the same age? Like, it's.
Are you kidding me? My mom is 36 years younger than my dad.
Oh,
I am the prototypical white passport bro with that really young, like Filipina chick. Even though like that wasn't the case because my dad was actually like not a loser from America who just
That's
you know,
what the passport bro.
that's a passport bro.
Yeah,
Like my dad was
Was
like
he
a
military?
wealthy European guy. He was born and raised in France. He was like multilingual. He was just like a traveling little bachelor, right?
Who wouldn't want that?
But from afar, I would be so insecure at like the nurse thing. And honestly, like my mom is a nurse, so she would sometimes roll around in scrubs, and people probably just assumed that. And guess what? I wouldn't correct it. I would be like, yeah, that's my grandpa, and that's his nurse.
And you're not a bad person for doing it.
I just don't know how to grasp that. So that's why when I'm like, oh my God, a kid at 40, like, and every time my mom and I have a drink together, she's like, I'm so fucking tired of being old. I'm so old. Everybody just comes around and tells me how good I'm like, I can't. Fuck. Think about our backs right now.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
Oh, yeah, I be getting stretched. I be like, stretch these heels. Me and my best friend will come over. I will roll out the yoga mat in the living room and we just stretch. No, we stretch together. Both of our hips hurt.
Oh, I was like,
So
this sounds like sex.
No, we'll be talking and just be stretching at the same time. Like, ooh, we are the old people we used to talk about.
That's
Yeah.
such a good idea. I'm fully taking that idea.
Stretch with your friends.
What is your
Why not?
demographic of listeners' age? Because we're saying some old bullshit.
Here we are, friends.
Someone in the back goes away.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack and hydration sponsor. So excited to announce that they keep up with Thomas Bar, Michelin star chef at the French Laundry on 2 special edition products, a self-improvement chip protein bar, and using renable hydration. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, IQ Bar is a sponsor. We reach out to them. Okay, I first learned of IQ Bars from Carla. She gave me one on a day when we ended up recording, and it was right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text trash to 64,000. Text trash to 64,000. That's trash to 64,000. Message can be what needs to be applied to take details. I can promise you right now, this is a deal I will be doing. Literally right now. Let's talk about Helix mattresses. I know I've gotten one for my parents, my sister, and myself. Literally, my parents said it was the best mattress they've ever slept on in their lives, and I would trust them more than I trust myself because they're so comfortable with me.
Helix mattress is just so great. If you are a back sleeper, a stomach sleeper, a side sleeper, painful joints, whatever it is, you take a very short quiz and they've got you covered. For someone like me, especially.
Like that. But it's that I'm desperate to talk to someone only child thing. And so partying is a way for me, even when I was young, I would go out alone. And being a New Yorker, we go out alone. That's how you meet your community. Your apartment's too small, it sucks. You go downstairs, you meet people. So partying is my way of almost feeling at home. That sounds crazy, but it is. Like, I love to
That
dance.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Not in a way of, oh my God, let's go get fucked up. I don't need anything.
Yeah.
You can throw me in a party, I can dance for hours, and people will be like, what is she on? The night you saw me, I was. But, because I remember that. I was like, every day we go that way. Ooh.
That was so fun.
It was. I have my days, especially like I love the New York party scene. I love techno, I love house music, I love trap music. It just depends. So there's a really cool club called Basement. I don't know if anyone watched Baby Girl.
I haven't yet, but my mom has been begging.
It's good. So
Yeah.
there's a scene where they go to this rave. That place exists in New York. It's real. It's a real club, and it feels exactly like that. You just can't have water there. Like, you do need to be on drugs. So there's times where people are like, you want to go to Basement? I'm like, no. I went last month. Let's give it till July. Like, give me a little break here. What's my normal party and what's my rage party line? I have one.
Wait, this is actually pretty interesting because I have been historically never someone that can be social without either a drink in hand or just because like I have a lot of like social anxiety. I sweat from like head to toe. Anyway, we stumbled upon, or Stella, you sent me that article about sober sex, and most of my younger years, I really struggled having sober sex.
You and I need to both do some sort of thing together. I dealt with this last year.
Really?
So I went celibate and sober at the same time because I was realizing my need to be drunk to engage with sex, and it stemmed from maybe not feeling safe with the partners I was having sex with, but also I was doing it with my ex. Like, by the way, if anyone would come over my house or I would go to them, it didn't matter what location. As soon as they walked through the door, shots. Then the shroom. Then you want a blunt, and I had to be completely like lit to even get off, essentially. And then what I noticed between going sober and going celibate was my need to drink, to be sometimes even around people. It's what made me realize, oh, I'm not the extrovert I thought I was. Because then when I was going out, I was like, oh wait, I realized that I had to drink to be in these spaces. So where you're talking about this only child thing needing to be in these rooms, I realized how much, oh wow, I'm not the extrovert partier fun girl that I thought I was.
100%.
I've been leaning heavily into liquor to exist in
That
this.
is the biggest realization that so my whole idea of myself, my own self-perception was that I was this
I was wrong.
party girl,
Yes.
that I love to be around people. And anyone who knows me or who knew me from like my 20s, Vegas girl, all day parties, just being this like social butterfly. But I realized I was also drunk most of the time. And when I think about sex, I the idea of it, like the performance of it all, I couldn't deal with sober.
Which is crazy because I love to perform. I thought, like, it's so crazy because when I was single before I got my partner, like, I doubled back to someone old and from the olden days. And back in the day, I was like, let me just bring him back real quick. And I brought him, he came over and I made the drink and it almost hit me. This was after the celibate trip and all that. He was like, damn, you got a drink to fuck me? After I had already, literally, mind you, hadn't fucked him for like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Just came back, but that's how we would fuck back then. We would party clubs, so much so to where there was many blackout nights where I was like, what did you say? And he didn't even know that, like, 2, there's a sexual assault chapter, and not to make it dark, but I also
Oh no, that's what our show is dark. I'm the most good old.
yeah.
I love a good, like, let's talk about suicide stuff.
Oh my god, I've been institutionalized 3 times.
Oh my God.
I know.
Y'all are nuts now.
No, I genuinely love those moments, like being able to laugh and then like, okay, like let's talk about the time that a
Well,
guy.
you do that, and you admit that you do that as a defense mechanism.
It is.
You're uncomfortable talking.
Exactly.
Well, as
Like,
it always says, like if you don't laugh about it, you'll die.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way to sort of like.
I ain't there. I'll be like, bitch, get your shit together. What's crazy is me, my mom, and my sister are all literally in therapy right now. Ironically, for the same thing.
Jealous. What a flag.
No, this is my mom's first time, and my sister, and we all.
Everett Police Department has minutes of delay on the YouTube live stream via the control room.
You know, I like eating coochie too,
Yeah.
but I want to be with a man, and it's just like for this realization that maybe I'm not even fully comfortable with them in the most vulnerable act, which is sex. Is just like, okay, so I've been toning down my liquor just to try to figure myself out more.
But I think what's really interesting too is that because I have a long history of like young sexual assault and teen sexual assault, which is like the weirdest things, and also sexual assault in a relationship where I had a boyfriend who would rip the pillowcase if I said no. You know, that type of shit where he was like, he had to have it twice a day. And I was with him for a couple of years. And if I said no, he would just stonewall me or treat me like shit that day. And I was like 19, 20, you know, so that stuff really sort of like grows in your head. So then but when I stopped drinking altogether, like you, I realized, oh, I'm not just an introvert, I'm a hermit.
Yeah.
Like you can leave me at home to bedrock for 18 hours and I am fine.
Oh, after this trip, I get back to Atlanta on Saturday. All my friends know I probably won't leave my house till Wednesday. Like after I do trips like this now, I'm like, I stay in my house with my cat and watch TV, and I just have to be by myself.
You need to
like
recover.
Decompress,
And we're going on tour for the book, and I'm literally, that's what I'm also in therapy now. Like, what do I do to be able to exist with all these people now, especially because I told her for the tour I'm going to minimize my drinking. I'm literally like trying to be intentional with how I exist and knowing myself more. Kind of like how you said, like, you thought you knew yourself. Oh, bitch, every way in which I described myself in my 20s and even my early 30s, I was like, oh, bitch, that was all a perception of yourself because of how liquor existed in your life.
Exactly.
And as soon as that's removed, as soon as like you receive the confidence and self-love and you start valuing yourself, it's like, oh wait, maybe I'm also not this like sex-driven fucking siren that I think. Maybe I'm not this man-eater that I thought I was.
Hey, yes.
I mean, honestly, that's the things that are like we go through in the book, right? Like we have these journeys. Listen, my pussy gets electrocuted in this book. Okay, I go to a dungeon, I put my ex's dick in a cage, and then my pussy gets electrocuted. So I'm still into the shit.
Like craziest stories in the book. Like let's do 3 each.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Like, okay, so I'll start with my death. Like, first off, I know this sounds really sad right now. You're not gonna. There are trigger warnings in this book, but we're going through things.
He's like suicide.
Abortion.
You know what's crazy about the suicide chapter?
Hey, let's go.
I remember the day that I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna do it. I went out and I
I
don't
know, bitch. We were given 3 goddamn stories.
No. She was.
We want to get away from being sad. We gotta bring up the sex of the
It's
day.
funny though. My shit ain't sad.
Well, it's because you make it funny.
I'm in the club and I'm like, yo, this music is really bad. I paid to see this DJ. I want to say it was Zed. I hope this doesn't go viral. But I used to love Zed back in the day.
We all did.
I'm like, yeah, what the fuck this is Zed? I go pull up and I'm like, no, like I really might kill myself tonight. Like this isn't worth it. I thought I was gonna take myself back in time. Like I want to die. This shit is bad. Clarity ain't hitting this thing.
Clarity.
Like, I don't have clarity. Like I really think. Like and so, you know, people are offering me fucking pills and shit. I'm like, bro, I want value than 20 of them. Like I really was like, this music is trash. And it's crazy because when you're contemplating suicide, little things. I had a pizza that was bad. I'm like, I should die. It's fucked up, but it starts to like just.
Wait, was there something in your life going on that had you in that mindset, or it was purely triggered by Zed?
No. I didn't want to die from Zed, but I already was just feeling low. So the pressure of I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna feel better.
Yeah, this needs to fix my problems right now. Yeah.
So I'd be like, I'm gonna go out and it'd be so manic.
She said the sound system sucked that night.
Bruh.
It ruined it. It didn't. The bass wasn't hitting
I don't
the
know
way it
if
needed
it was
to.
the Mirage. I don't remember where it was in New York or what club back then. It was maybe 8 or 9 years ago. But I was like, what? It's crazy because that lifestyle of dancing and music is something that makes me feel good. When you're depressed,
There's
it's
nothing
like
wrong with
sometimes
That's the
you're-
worst thing when the things you love don't hit. That is so dark. Like
Yes.
or one of my most depressed states when I was in college, and it was when everyone around me loved college. They loved partying. They loved frats, and I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with me that I don't like this. Everyone else around me is happy, and I'm not. Like that's another like.
I know so many people must feel that. I never had a college experience, and I can't imagine because that was the thing I feel like I missed. Oh my God, I don't have as many girlfriends my age because I never met them in school, or I don't have this long lineage of like, in black colleges, like if you're not an AKA and you ain't got to dance in a frat or a sorority, like where's your identity?
I never went to PAs. That was never a goal of mine.
Oh, I wanted to be